You're listening to the Platform Launchers podcast. I'm John Stange, and it's great to have you with us as always as we kick off a new year talking about building, growing, and monetizing your online platform, taking your passion, turning it into a platform, and helping that become a paycheck that you and your family can learn to rely on over time. And we're just grateful to have you with us each and every week, whether you're checking us out via the podcast or whether you're watching us on YouTube. It's always exciting to be able to connect with you. We're just having a good conversation with our members club who are live on this call with me as I record the podcast here. They're also with me. We have members from each corner of the United States with us tonight. And so we're excited about that, hearing about the different platforms that everybody's building and some of the goals that we have for this coming year. And this week, our subject is going to be about messaging. And I have a few things for you here that I think you're going to find useful. But we're going to be talking about um, the aspects of your message that your audience wants to hear more about. So have that topic in the back of your mind. By the way, before we get into that, I just want to let you know that if you stop over at platformlaunchers.com, we have a variety of freebies over there. You'll find our 21-day platform development planning guide. It's for free right at our website, platformlaunchers.com. You can also take a free 2-week test drive of our members club and jump on board and join us here for our live calls for a couple weeks, and you'll get full access to our video library and all the things that we have there in the membership. Take it for a free test drive for a couple weeks, see if it's right for you, and if it is, we'd love to consider you a long-term member as well. Now, last week, if you're on my email list, you probably noticed I sent an email. Maybe you received it. But I asked those who are on my email list to let me know if there was a platform development topic that they'd like me to cover in this coming year. And the response I received to that email has been very fascinating. It's come in droves, kind of. At first I received some initial very quick responses and then some gradual responses as well. But the responses I received revealed several things to me. First of all, it reminded me as I was looking at these things that wherever we are in our platform development journey, whether you're brand new at this or whether you've been doing this for a while, many of our problems and many of our concerns are exactly the same. We're wondering the same things. Our struggles are very similar. The topics we're curious about may differ in scale, depending on how long you've been doing this, but they don't really differ in substance. So it was very interesting to see some of those questions that came in related to that email. But second, I was also reminded that the foundational issues that go along with online platform development, those are things that continue to matter even if you've been building your online platform for a long time. Now, some of the people who replied to my email, like I said, have been working on their online platforms for years. And yet the questions that they wanted me to address brought me right back to the foundations of online influence. So we're going to talk about that in this week's podcast here in just a second. But there was a third thing that I was also impressed with, and that was the volume of the questions that I received. There were a lot of questions that I received. They didn't all come right at once, but for about a week here since I sent that email out, I've been receiving a lot of very, very interesting questions. A large volume. Some of you actually sent me, one or two emails. Others replied with lists that had it was just one email, but one of the I'll pick on Jennifer Harshman. Jennifer sent me a list that had like 20 things in it, and I really enjoyed reading that. Lots and lots of just very, very interesting, deeper level questions that I thought these will be really good to dig into. And so I'm going to do my best to answer most, if not all, of those questions that were sent. And I'll be doing that over the coming weeks here. So you're probably going to see your question appear in one form or another very soon. But as we're beginning a brand new calendar year, I can't believe it's 2024 already, brand new calendar year. And as we contemplate some of our goals, as we contemplate some of our aspirations for our online platforms, what I want to encourage us to do, if you're listening via the podcast right now, if you're joining us on YouTube, if you're part of our members club and you're right here with me as I'm recording this, I want to encourage us to make sure that we're building our platforms on the right foundation, because building on the right foundation, it'll save us time. It's going to prevent our platforms from going off into unproductive areas. It's going to result in a lot more satisfaction from you toward what you're building. And one of the most important foundational areas that's always worth reviewing, no matter how long you've been doing this, if you've been doing this for a long time or a short time, it's always worth reviewing your message, looking at your message itself. And when I was thinking about some of the foundational things that I wanted to start off our year by revisiting and revising and thinking about, coming back to this idea of the message that we share via our platform, that's right where I wanted to start our year because there are things that we like to talk about. And I have a long list of those things in my life. You probably do in your life as well. But then there are also things that our audience needs us to talk about. And sometimes those things are the same, but often those things are different. And that's why I wanted to bring that up right at the start of this year. So I'll use my life as a little bit of an example here because there are things that I like to talk about and can talk about at length without losing any steam or without losing any enthusiasm. But as I look at some of those subjects, I have to admit, some of them that interest me for whatever reason, I don't think I'd ever be able to build an online platform based on some of those topics. And there's a reason why. And the reason is this: those things may be curiosities for me or even interests for me, but they don't necessarily meet the needs of other people. And since they're not focused on the needs of other people, I think that that would be a very difficult thing to try and build an online platform around. And so, knowing that to be the case, what I try to do instead is this: I try to make sure to listen closely to my audience. Now, I kind of have two audiences in some respect, although they do have some synergy, I would say. But I try to make sure to listen very closely to my audience. And if you're brand new at platform development, I'll tell you this: before I had an audience, I tried to listen very closely to my friends. So if you have an audience, listen closely to your audience. If you don't have an audience yet, listen closely to the other people that are in your life who know you well, who you interact with quite regularly, your friends, maybe even some family members. But what I like to do, especially when it comes to messaging, I like to pay attention to what they ask me to help them with when I create content. What I end up doing is I listen to what they ask for help with, and then I create the content I'm creating, or the courses that I'm going to share, or the coaching that I'm about to offer to meet those specific needs. I listen to them and then build the products based on what they are asking for help with. And my online with that is like the pattern that I'm following. What I've discovered is my online business, it grows when I follow that pattern because it's not being built to meet my needs. I think a lot of times people try and build an online platform to meet their own needs. And typically, when they think about meeting their own needs, they're thinking about maybe earning an income from what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. I encourage people to earn an income from their online platform because that means they're going to be able to do it longer and maybe even do it better and maybe even invest some of that income into what they're building. I fully support earning an income from your online platform, but I don't support the idea of building your platform primarily from the mindset of meeting your needs. That's the wrong perspective. And that's what a lot of people go into online content creation thinking primarily about. And it shows in their content. You discover they're really just focused on themselves. They're not focused on the needs of other people. What I consider better, a much better approach, it's a much more giving approach, is if you build your online platform almost entirely focused on meeting the needs of others. And so that's what I'm trying to do with what I'm building online. I'm trying to build what I'm building to almost entirely to meet the needs of other people. And as I continue to do that, and as you continue to do that, you're going to earn two things. I noticed that I earn two specific things in taking that approach. You will earn the two same specific things if you choose to take that same approach of building your online platform to meet the needs of others. These are the two things you'll earn. You'll earn repeat business and you'll earn referrals. Repeat business and referrals. And I want you to experience that. If you're in the business of building your platform, if you're in the process of doing that, I want you to experience repeat business and referrals. So let's talk about your messaging for a second. Let's look at your overall message to make sure that the foundation of this is set up correctly. And if you've never heard me say this before, I'm going to share something with you that will be helpful if you've been trying to figure out how to make things connect. But I'm curious, and just think this in your mind for a second. I'll just ask this as a question. Does it feel like your message is connecting with your audience? Or right now, does it feel like you're missing something? If you are connecting, how could you make a deeper connection? And if you're missing something, how can that be corrected? So be thinking about those things for a quick second. Now, most experts in online platform development will tell you that people are primarily looking for help in three areas. These are the three areas that they're primarily looking for help in. They area number one is this: they'd like to improve something about their health. A very common reason people are looking for online health or help from a platform, right? They're looking to improve something about their health. Second reason people oftentimes go online looking for something is they'd like to improve something about their personal finances. So, first is health, second is finances. The third major reason people go online to look for help from a platform tends to deal with relationships. So, you have health, you have finances, you have relationships. Now, think about those three things for a second. I'm going to dig into them a little bit further in just a moment, but I just want you to think about those three categories for just a moment: health, finances, relationships. First of all, I'd just be curious, do you agree with that list? Is that a list you agree with? Or is there something you would say, I'd take this away from that list, or maybe I'd add this to this list? Are there subcategories that you might even put under some of those topics, under health, under finances, under relationships? Um, does the message of your platform come anywhere close to meeting one of those needs: health, finances, or relationships? Now, personally speaking, I think that the major topics of health and finances and relationships are a very good place to start when you're trying to figure out the nature of your messaging. From my experience, I would definitely add a few subcategories as well. And I'll explain what I mean by that, because some of these categories can be a little bit broad. So when people are looking to improve their health, they may be looking for more, or they may be looking for information about more than just their physical well-being. So when we use the word health, we might be talking about deeper level subjects than just our physical well-being, although that may be the main reason people are looking for online help in the health category. But if you're familiar with some of the content that I create online, you're probably well aware of the fact that most creating and writing and teaching about has to do with the area of spiritual health. So again, when people hear health, they tend to think physical health, and that's obviously a very important thing, but that's just one of the categories of health that people are looking for online help with. So a lot of the content I create does fall into the health category, but it's really geared towards spiritual health. It's a subject that I'm wired to just care about very, very deeply. And I've learned that there are many people who are looking for help in that area. So that's a need that I'm personally eager to serve. So that's just something to think about in the health category. But how about the finance category? Well, when people are looking to improve their personal finances, the truth is they may be looking for help in more areas than just saving and investing. People tend to think saving and investing when they hear personal finance. And again, both very important, but there's more to it than that. I've learned that plenty of people are actually looking for training that will help them to start a new career. And I would put that under finances, right? Others are looking for ways in which to maybe supplement their traditional income by adding an online income. Many of the people here in platform launchers, that's the category I think that many of us would find ourselves in. Others, and this fits with some of those that are in platform launchers as well, others are looking for creative ways to fund ministries and charitable organizations. So I try to offer guidance in these areas based on things that I've experienced. But these are a few things to think about when you think about that category of finance. Well, what about the area of relationships? There are many people that when they think of relationships, they may be thinking about dating, or they may be thinking about marriage, or they may be thinking about relationships that fall into vastly different categories. And I believe that when you just look at how human beings are designed, I actually believe we're divinely designed as relational beings. And so that's actually why I offer much of the training that I offer in a community context where groups of people get to know each other and sharpen each other. We sharpen each other's understanding, we sharpen each other's growth, we provide accountability. So relationships can be something that we build in like the entrepreneurial world or in the content creation world or things of that nature. So just kind of think of that as a subcategory when you think about those main areas. But I'm wondering, how can your message, the message that you're passionate about, how can it help in one of these three categories or one of these three areas? In health, in finance, in relationships? Do you see a personal application or a way that you can meet one of these primary needs? By the way, one other area that might be worth considering either as a main point, maybe as a fourth thing, or as a sub point under one of these three is the subject of legacy. Based on some of the coaching conversations that I've been having and some of the questions that I've been receiving, this seems like a subject that's on the minds of a lot of people. Excuse me for that cough. Particularly if you serve an audience of people who have adult children or adult grandchildren or something along those lines. But as the saying goes, keep your ears to the pavement. So just think about that for a second. Keep your ears to the pavement. Pay careful attention to what your audience is asking you for, and then be humble enough to admit that it might require you to fine tune what you're presently offering or begin offering something brand new. Your audience, when you think about this from a foundational standpoint, and you think about this as something that here we are at the start of a brand new year, your audience will tell you what they need from you. And if you want to experience the blessings that come from repeat business or referrals, make sure you're listening. Just as I mentioned at the start of our podcast here, I'd like to invite you to stop over to platformlaunchers.com. You can check out our 21-day platform development planning guide. You could also take a free test drive of our monthly membership, the Members Club. We'd love to see you there at platformlaunchers.com. But that's it for us this week. We look forward to catching up with you again right here next time. Take care.